much space in here. Good God.
All right, Coach, give me an opening statement. We'll take questions for the players before we take questions.
Mike, are you sitting back here or basketball players? We start to like. Whew, man. Great win against a really good basketball team. FAU is good, well coached. Coach Jacobs does a phenomenal job. Man, they're talented. You make a mistake defensively, and they make you pay. You go down. I mean, Carlisle and Vanderpool is one of the best backcourts in the league. I mean, they combined for 38 points tonight out of their 775, and we knew that it was going to be a different look than we've seen lately. Obviously, them having a shooting big. Devin Williams is capable from three. Didn't hit one tonight, but has had games where he's made them. Pintalon's obviously a 7-footer that can stretch the floor and shoot it. Thought we were just, I mean, to be honest with you, just horrendous in the first half. I don't know what it was. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. It was bad. I thought our pop was bad. I thought our attention to detail was bad. I thought our pace was bad. We missed a bunch of free throws. We missed clean shots. For whatever reason, we were not great in the first half. And I say that to say this. We had a little bit of a come-to-Jesus meeting in the locker room at halftime and talked a lot of things on both sides of the ball. And credit to these guys because they went out and executed everything we asked them to in the second half on both sides and played as good of a 20 minutes of basketball that we played all year. And so this league is a war. Every game is going to be challenging and a lot of talent in this league. Really good basketball coaches, and so just really proud of these guys to beat a really good Florida Atlantic team at home, and most importantly, what a crowd! Just unbelievable college basketball atmosphere, 100% factored in. It was unbelievable, and we needed to give them something to cheer about. It was quieter here in the first half, and rightfully so. But in the second half, man, we got an extra boost from this crowd, and so just a shout out and a thank you to everyone that showed up, especially our student section and SoFlo Rodeo. We're dynamite, and so really appreciative of the support that we got.
Questions from players?
For both players, and we'll start with you and go across. A choppy first half, that's nicely put. But the second half, an offensive explosion.
Hey, I get to say that. You don't.
Okay.
All right.
All right. We'll go there. Second half, an offensive explosion, but both ends of the floor. What happened? Were you just afraid to go back in the locker room with him after the halftime speech?
I think we came in, after talking with the coaches, we kind of knew that the first half wasn't us. We knew that we can come back out and play much harder than we came out and played in the first half. So, after they told us our mistakes, we went out, corrected that, and just played hard. And I think that's what led us to getting a W tonight.
Yeah, I think knowing we played our worst half of basketball and we were only down 3 points, I think we knew what we needed to do in the second half. Coaches came in there and, we kind of got closer together and then, came out and, did what we had to do in the second half.
What's the most important thing when you guys' shots aren't falling to make sure that you guys kind of keep your head on straight and play the game, continue playing the game the right way?
It's funny you say that because Coach literally said before the game, 95% of the game is played without the basketball. So just doing any little thing you can do without the ball because you're not going to have the ball most of the game. So that was another big emphasis in this game. So it's just funny that you say that. So just trying to fly around, get your hand on the ball, deflect things, talk a lot. Talking takes no talent. So we talk a lot about the things like TNT takes no talent. So just doing those things.
Damian, what exactly has clicked for you in the last few games that has allowed you to kind of hit this stride that you've been on lately?
I think it's just, just most of all the confidence I get from, coach and my teammates, and, just putting in the work. When we go in, practice always going to be hard in the game. So just putting in the work, and, having people like this to have your back, it's easy to go out there and just play hard, just be able to come out and do good.
For both players, again, let's start with you. You knew FAU was going to make runs in the second half, but you answered each one of them. How important was it to finish this right away?
Yeah, it was huge. I think the narrative was that we kind of don't finish games, and I think we're starting to change that narrative a little bit. But just like Coach has been preaching, just stay one possession at a time, not looking to the end of the game, just being right in the moment. So just continue to do that and, you know, make each possession important.
Damon, same question?
Can you say the question again, please?
Yeah, finishing the game, how important was it to stop FAU when they were making their runs and just finish this game off?
I think it was really important because, like Wes said, we've been a team that hasn't been the best in the second half this year. So we just had to know we had to come out and, you know, get a win for our team and for the fans. And, you know, we had to do what we had to do to just come out and do that.
Wes, you mentioned the TNT, and it's something that we've heard since day one, since Coach has been here. Are you guys at that point right now where you don't have to be told about the TNT? Is that part of the fabric of your team right now, or is that something that you guys are still building as we get closer to postseason?
No, I think right now it's like everyone's starting to really buy in that. So like it doesn't have to be said too much. Like we all know what we had to do, and I think we're starting to do it. So it's super important that we continue to do that.
For both again, and my last question, you guys have great interaction with the fans post-game. How important is it to get close with these guys after the game?
I think it's real important because, you know, the fans is what keep us going. You know, we can go out there, we can play hard, but without the fans, there's no extra boost. They just don't know, like, the fans give a team so much more, you know, like confidence and stuff when you have somebody there that actually has your back cheering for you, want to see you do good. And I think, like with the crowd we had today, and like knowing that first half we didn't come out and play as good as we supposed to, and then coming out the second half we started going on runs and stuff like that, and having a crowd to cheer us on, it just made the game so much easier. So I think it's real important to have, you know, a good fan base like we have. So that was real good.
Wes, same thing.
Yeah, I think it's very important to have that connection with the, you know, the fans. You know, it's almost like a sixth man. You know, when you come in here, no one wants to come in here and play here because the fans are so good. So it's just great to have that support and you know, the community here at USL.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Mike, this is Wichita State.
Great rod, guys.
Appreciate it.
Coach, normally you don't play two bigs at the same time. Did FAU's roster just determine that today?
No. You see the UAB game?
I was there.
Okay. So, no, at UAB. At UAB.
Uh-huh.
So at UAB, we played Damian and Zay a lot of minutes together, and they were phenomenal. But you're not wrong. Both that game and this game, the person on the floor for our opponent allowed to have those guys out there. You know, we had matchups for them, right? We got to make sure we have matchups for them defensively, so we're not putting one of the two in a bad spot. Our defense is really good when the two of them are out there together. Offense, not so great. We're still figuring that out a little bit, and it's a work in progress. But man, when they're out there defensively, the rim protection's elite, and they can both move their feet. So I think you'll hopefully continue to see some more of that because it's been good for us, especially on the defensive end.
Coach, can you talk about the thought process of the beer for the people coming out, and then kind of the response from the people that are in the crowd today?
Yeah, first time I said it on the radio. First time I've paid a $750 or $1,000 bar tab, and I didn't get to partake. But I'm gonna have a cold one as soon as you guys let me out of here. But you know, our student section is just phenomenal. It really is. It truly is. And so I just was trying to find creative ways to give back to them a little bit because. It's one of the things that make South Florida basketball great. SoFlo Rodeo and that student section. I mean, seeing those guys up there in the second level just means a lot to me. It means a lot to our players. The interaction we have with them, they're extremely bought in to South Florida basketball, and they've showed out at home games in a big way. And so just trying to find different things to support them. And college students like beer, and we're playing in the Yingling Center. So what better way to throw them a bone than buy their first beer? So hopefully they enjoyed it, and we can make it a tradition.
Coach,
You deserve a beer for those shoes you wore today.
Come on, baby.
Coach, what happened in the final 8 minutes of this game when you guys had that double-digit lead today that didn't happen against UAB or against Wichita State?
We took care of the basketball. And our transition defense was much better. We didn't do a great job of those in either one of those games. Had some just costly bonehead turnovers in both of them, and weren't great in transition. And thought we did a really good job down the stretch. Wes Enos did a phenomenal job guarding Vanderpool down the stretch in the second half. He had a segment where he was kicking our butt, and we made a switch, put Wes Enos on him, and he went quite a while before he got his next basket. But it was just a total team effort defensively, and then I thought we got good shots offensively, and then did a great job on the offensive glass during that segment as well.
And then you mentioned turnovers. You had 9 in the first half and just 1 in the second half. What was the difference? Was it just more mental focus, or was there something more than that?
Yeah, 3 of them came from C.J. Brown, and I'll say that not to throw the young man under the bus, but I'm gonna give you the whole story here. So, just thought he was lackadaisical in the first half, and I think as a staff maybe we talked too much about their shot blocking ability. Devin Williams was going into the night, I think was the 4th best shot blocker in the country. I think they were the 9th best shot blocking team in the country. And so I thought we were hesitant at the rim. I thought we got in the paint and we'd see them in there. And so now we're making bad paint reads. We were just hesitant to actually fully attack the rim. And so it's a 3-part deal. So CJ comes out, he's not playing great basketball. And we sub a freshman in, Adriel Niorha, and man, he goes in and to the rack, layup, to the rack, layup, and made a huge 3. He had 7 points in the first half. And we kind of got a calming presence from our freshman, which was awesome. And really, really proud of him because, that's not easy to do as a freshman in a big game like this. So I think that allowed CJ to settle in, and we go in the locker room at halftime, and CJ took a deep breath. And as bad as he was in the first half, and I'll say it, it's probably the worst half he's played all year, he was phenomenal in the second half. He had 17 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 turnover. 1 turnover in the second half. And I just really thought it was, for him, truly a tale of 2 halves because going into the locker room, he had, this is halftime box, so all of his turnovers were in the first half. He finished the game with 4 turnovers, and all 4 of them were in the first half. And he was a -9 going to the locker room at halftime and finished the game a +3. So that's a 12-point swing on the plus-minus. I thought he was dynamite in the second half. And in games like this, sometimes, unfortunately, you kind of go as your point guard goes a little bit. There's a lot of responsibility there. But, man, he delivered in the second half in a big way, 13 of his 17 points. And really, really proud of the way he responded.
Coach, what was that mindset coming into this game, knowing that FAU was ranked #1 in the conference right now? And did you see that mindset kind of differ from the beginning of the game to half, and then now obviously to the end?
I don't know, to be honest with you, that it had a ton to do with that where they were, sitting there with 1 loss and everybody else had 2, because we're so early in conference. Like, to be honest with you, you just got to take this deal 1 game at a time because there's so many good teams and good coaches. I think it was less about the standings and more about how good of basketball they were playing. FAU's been playing really good basketball during that 5-game winning streak. And because I think their loss was the first game of conference, if I'm not mistaken, and then they rattled off 5 in a row win, and they've been good, and not only have they been beating people, they've been beating people in a dominating fashion. We lost to a hungry, desperate Wichita State team here because FAU beat the brakes off them at their place. FAU, handled Memphis. FAU handled Tulane. They have not just been beating people; they've been beating people convincingly. And so, less about the standings, more about they've just been playing really, really good basketball. Going into the night, they had the #1 defense in our conference. I think that's going to change after this box score, but they're just playing really good basketball, and our guys knew that. They saw it on tape and knew that we had to play really well to beat them.
Coach, in your mind, is there a score or a time where you want to kind of slow the tempo down, or you just want to keep pushing it?
Yeah, when the clock hits 0 across the board, that's when we want to slow the tempo down. Every coach is a little bit different, right? I'm not a firm believer of, time and score. We want to let our foot off the gas. I think when you're a fast-playing team and you do that, you tend to get a little bit sloppy. There is obviously some possessions you saw where we tried to run actions with more like 9-10 seconds on the shot clock, but that's when we're playing against a set defense in the half court. If we can get out in transition, we're going to do it. You know, I think you got to play the way you play and be who you are through the duration until that final buzzer sounds.
Coach, I wanted to ask you, 'cause you hooked CJ so early in the game. How do you find that?
I didn't hook him early enough.
How do you find that balance of, all right, there needs to be repercussions for poor play, but also giving a guy a chance to be able to dig himself out of it and show that resilience. So how do you find, is it different per player? Is it different, you know, does time and score have something to do with that, right?
Yeah, it is. It's very different for player. And I'll say in that instance today, first turnover, we'll let you dig yourself out of it. Then that second turnover, okay, see, we're going to let you dig yourself out of it. Then when he threw that third one away, it was time to come sit down and talk about it, right? And so CJ's built up some equity with me, and we're going to let CJ play through some things for sure. He's a phenomenal young man. He's a worker. He's about all the right stuff. He's extremely unselfish, almost to a fault. But you know, after the third one, we knew something wasn't right. Like, let's come back, and sit down, and gather our thoughts here. And man, that can go one of two ways now. The way he started the game. I mean, I've had guys where like, man, they just don't have it. And you know, we had some firm conversations, and I told him like, hey, if you don't have it, I need to know. And he said, no, I got you, and he did. In the second half, he was phenomenal.
You know you got to win so many different ways throughout an entire season. Did you learn something new about your team today because of how poorly they played in the first half and then responded in the second half?
Yeah, we can play with anybody, anywhere, anytime. And even when we're not playing our best basketball, we just got to stay the course. Our goal, so FAU going into today, games where they've been held under 75 points, they've lost. So our goal was to hold them to 70 or less. So 35 or less a half, right? And we played horrendous basketball. And they scored 36, and we were down one possession going to the locker room. And I'm telling you, when we walked in there, I'm glad we didn't have a sideline reporter here today because I didn't have anything nice to say at all. And when we walked into the locker room at halftime, as bad as we played, we're down one possession, and we were 1 point off of our goal of what we wanted to do defensively. And so you're never it's never over, whether you're in the lead or you're in a bad spot like we were, right? You got to fight to the finish and play 40 minutes of basketball. I think to sum up your question and give you a short answer is our boys got some grit to them.
Coach, you extend a lot of energy trying to soothe the crowd to get into the game. Is it getting close to where they're into it for 40 minutes?
I think our crowd does a phenomenal job. That's who I am, right? I'm not. If you notice, I don't sit down during the games. I don't have it in me. I'm gonna fire up our crowd. We didn't give them a reason to be fired up in the first half, but in the second half, you know, I know what this place is capable of, and man, it was rocking in there today. And if I gotta do some jumping jacks to get them going, I'll do it. But man, this place was electric today, and we just need to continue to build on that. I don't know what our attendance was, but it was phenomenal, and just super appreciative of people giving us their time today because it really helped us down the stretch.
Anything else? Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, congrats.
All right, thank you.
Media, that was a season high attendance today as well, second straight home game. Today was 4,833.
Nice.
All right, have a great day. Back on the road.
Go crack a cold.
Yeah, I'm going to.